Yes, this is truly number six's Queen Gambit moment. He'll have to E2 to E4 his way into a victory. Yeah, no, I have no idea what the show is about. I'm sorry. Welcome everyone, it is Dylan, back with Class 1A, bringing you another My Hero Academia Vigilantes chapter breakdown. This week we have chapter 109, Culmination. We open up the chapter to more internal discussion between 6 and O'Clock. Knowing he can't beat Koichi with O'Clock's signature style, he's going to have to go through a more methodical plan to trap Koichi. He does this by ripping out chunks of his flesh to act as grenades, throwing them above and below Koichi. Now, I love how that we're going back and using quirks that he has done in the past, but now with like his new monster form and how that manifests in this way. I absolutely love these variants, it's so cool to see. Koichi is able to use his Shurigo Blam to evade the aerial minefield and slip away, but not before Six starts to activate his Anons again. We see the hospital is safe because they're able to round up all the Anons and contain them in time, but all the others scattered across the city are quickly descending upon Koichi. So at this point, Six is firing on a million different cylinders, using every ounce of his brain possible. He's in his monster form, he's using his quirks, he has all the Anons that he's controlling. Not, it's just not like a couple of them that are near him, it's literally all the ones he's brought with him, which, probably like 100 or so. Like there's so many that we can't even see him on screen at the same time. And all of this while having conversations with O'Clock, which we've seen in the past, kind of him like going back and forth, or like some sort of like weird vestige in his brain, but like all this at once is using up all his brain, and it is gonna get fried, I think. Now we see Six isn't just giving the Anons orders, they're basically a part of his brain. Every ounce of rage he is feeling is pushing them forward to kill Koichi. And we end the chapter with a deranged looking O'Clock, who seems to finally be giving into Six's bloodlust for Koichi. Now, the first time I looked at the scene, my initial thoughts were, yeah, this is O'Clock, the other side of number six and how he like holds O'Clock to a really high standard. So he's basically manifesting him in his own mind. And that's like the cool rational side of him, the side that he thinks O'Clock really embodies. And has a big difference in personality with like how he normally acts, but is like his rational center. And at this point, we see that it's like finally starting to crack and give way, of where he's finally giving in. These two sides are kind of merging into one, and they're both becoming like deranged, just all focused on bloodlust for Koichi. That's what I thought at first. And then the other theory that I saw people talking about that really has gotten me really excited is that smile. If you just look at that smile, you can't help but think, this is All For One. It has to be All For One. I mean, like, all these pieces are finally starting to come together. We know that he is linked to All For One in some way. He's linked to the Nomu, he's linked to All For One in some way, and the way it is actually incredible. So we've seen All For One have control over people before. Like, there's just something about him that, like, people just have, like, this gravitation towards him and want to follow him. Now, it could be a quirk of some sort, but this is it right here. This could be what it looks like from the point of view of those being controlled. Maybe it does manifest like this, of like some part of your brain that's talking to you, that you're listening to, that you're always looking at. It might be disguised as someone else, but it really is always All For One. Now, a little bit of spoilers for the main series of My Hero Academia. I'm going to be spoiling up to like the war arc and some of the stuff that's going on in there. So if you aren't caught up on the manga or anything, like tune out now, but like I think you all read like Vigilantes, so you probably read the manga as well, but it's all connected, so it's really important. So right now in the main series of My Hero Academia, we see that Shigaraki is getting his perfect body, a body that's able to handle all the same quirks that All For One is able to handle. And number six is the prototype of that. If you think about it, like, he was created in a lab, he was injected with all these different quirks, and he was sent out on the missions just to see like how his body would react to it. And that is what he's doing right here. He's using multiple quirks, he's firing his brain on like as much cylinders as possible in this fight, and that is when this vestige of O'Clock starts to get excited. When he sees him going to his limits and possibly going past them, that's what sets it off of actually wanting to go with number six's plan rather than the original plan. And the only thing that really makes sense is that it's All For One. All For One isn't, doing all this stuff like just to, cause villainy. He wants to be able to get that perfect body and figure out how to do that. And he sees that number six could be that person. So he wants to push him and really see if he is the one. Now, obviously from what we see with Shigaraki, there is a gap in between it. But number six directly leads to the reason why Shigaraki has the perfect body now. And we also see All For One have like this weird hold over Shigaraki where he's basically controlling him at this point, of where Shigaraki's not even thinking about the movements, and All For One is just kind of doing it for him. Kind of similar to what we're seeing now, kind of in a powered down form of that, of where All For One is sitting inside number 6's head, telling him things, saying he should be doing this and he should be doing this. It's just a lowered version of what Shigaraki's experiencing. Now, I know all of this is just kind of piecemeal and like a little bit of puzzle pieces here, but I think this is really where it connects, and this is where it connects to the main series. So like what to expect next from the manga. Obviously this fight is ramping up. It's like forever ramping up. I think it feels like we're like 10 chapters in at this point of this fight. It's amazing. I love it. I wanted to keep going because it is incredibly hype. But besides the ending to the fight, also expect this thread to go somewhere. I think that they're eventually going to connect it with the main series. Now, I'm not saying that, Koichi is going to show up and help Deku fight All For One and Shigaraki or anything like that. But what I think the ending of this series is going to be is just a really good tie into the main series. Like what's going on with All For One? What was number 6? What is going on behind the villain factory? And how does that all lead up to the main story and what's going on in My Hero Academia right now? I think it's all connected, and I think Horikoshi and its authors like working together a little bit to make sure that it all pieces up in a good amount of time, which is why things might be going a little bit slow right now, because the story progressed really, really fast in Vigilantes up until maybe the beginning of this year, of where we started to see some slowdown, some things being dragged out a little bit, this fight kind of going a little bit long, and some other sections, some flashbacks going on a little bit long. I think that might just be so that this series and the manga collide together when they need to collide together in this terms of a story at the perfect time. So you should be really hyped for it. You should keep following it because it is going to be amazing. But thank you all so much for watching and staying with me as I'm like trying to piece together all these puzzles and have the whole conspiracy board out. But I actually do think it's going somewhere, and it's really exciting. If you want to stay tuned and see where this goes, make sure you subscribe, because Class 1A is the place to be for My Hero Academia content. We go over the manga, Vigilantes, the anime, literally everything about My Hero you can think of, we cover it. So make sure you subscribe, and I will see you all next class.